that you have written to the Electoral Commission, and you are asking for those measures to be put in place. Basically, you are asking for an audit of the register, but could you kindly expatiate more on why you think there's a problem with the current voter roll and why there's a need for it, for an audit?
Yeah, thank you very much, Umar. I think as to whether there are issues with the electoral register as we speak today is public knowledge. I mean, the Electoral Commission itself has admitted to some of the concerns raised by some of the key stakeholders that yes, there were issues, but that they are correcting them or that they have corrected them. Now, that's fair enough. But the point is also that this is a very sensitive matter that goes to the core of one very key, very important element in the whole electoral process, transparency. So you also know that, rightly or wrongly, people seem to have some suspicion or a bit of discomfort. So if you have that kind of situation, then you are better off bringing the key stakeholders around the table, and then you take everybody through it, and then you can put what might probably be very unnecessary suspicions to rest. And that definitely will be to the good of the Electoral Commission, to the good of the general society, and also will be in the interest of stakeholders. So we believe that for as much as the Electoral Commission itself has already admitted publicly that there are issues with the electoral register, but that they are correcting them or that they have corrected them, I think that is good enough ground for key stakeholders to come around the table and settle the matter once and for all before the election takes off.
This call you're making has been made variously by the NDC. They even went on the streets to demonstrate. The EC has insisted there's nothing wrong with the register and that the register has a self-healing system in the exhibition process. What options do you have if the EC repeats this same referring to you that it gave to the NDC?
I do not expect that the EC would put on more or less a recalcitrant attitude, because the EC is working in the interest of all Ghanaians. The EC is not just working for itself. I'm sure it is a public institution, it is a constitutional body that is serving all of us. Two, elections are the kind of development that could have very, very sensitive implications for everybody. Of course, we have done quite well. And in the past, I mean, if there were serious issues and concerns, we have seen the Electoral Commission sitting down with stakeholders to resolve matters. So we do not expect the EC to take on a particularly recalcitrant position. In any case, if the EC has indeed corrected them, that is even the more reason why it becomes very important to sit with the stakeholders and then declare. Let everybody get that confidence. I don't think this will hurt the Electoral Commission at all. And I don't think that after that kind of exercise, which improves the transparency of the whole process, anybody will have any cause to raise suspicions and doubt. I think it would be in the best interest of the EC to heed the call of the people of Ghana, the key stakeholders on whose behalf they are exercising their mandate.
And if they say to you that you don't really have a case, like they've said to the other political party, the NDC, which has actually written a letter asking for some more information, I wanted to know, would you also possibly consider going on the streets?
Well, I am telling you that we think that this is a matter to which the EC should not give that kind of response. Well, the NDC chose to go on a demonstration. We think the best thing to do is to reason things out. I saw one of the top-level staff basically having a banter with people on one of the television stations over the weekend. And I was asking myself, what is the need for this banter? There's nothing to hide as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure the Electoral Commission wants everybody to understand and believe that there is nothing to hide. Now, in a situation where the calls are persisting, the most logical and reasonable thing to do, and in the best interest of and of enhancing the transparency and the fairness of the whole process is just to provide that kind of a platform. And in any case, as you note, we haven't even gone as far as calling it an audit. This is just the technical committee that will review with all the necessary information that everybody who is involved can look at and convince themselves or be convinced that everything has indeed been corrected. Now, this is a business that the Electoral Commission is transacting with the people of Ghana, represented by these candidates. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And I don't see why the EC would insist that, well, we've corrected it, there's no need. I don't think that should be their position.
Very well. So your team of technical working group does not necessarily have to be a group from outside the Electoral Commission. You do not mind if the EC sets up its own team to do this review, do you?
What we are saying is that technical group should include necessarily the stakeholders, the representatives of the candidates who have been qualified to contest, because they are directly affected. So the EC sets up this committee, chairs it with its own technical people, with the data manager, and the representatives of the qualified candidates. That's it. And I'm sure if you did that with all of the supporting documents that we have listed here, the final 2020 voters register, the limited registration information since 2021, the voter transfers effected since 2021, and the special voters list since 2020 to date. Now, if you have that fed by the EC itself, and everybody goes through this, compare with the final data that we have, I am sure it will go a very long way to ensure that people's confidence in the EC itself as a public institution in the upcoming election would be shored up to the good of all of us.
Okay. It is said that if something is not broken, you don't need to fix it. If the EC asks you to list the things that you deem to be broken with the register, what would they be? Because, so for instance, again, and forgive me for consistently referring to the NDC, but they are the ones who first brought this issue up. They have given a catalogue of issues that they believe are the problems with the register which need fixing. Are you going to present a list similar to that, also saying that we have seen 5 people transferred from this constituency to that constituency is not right? We have seen that your IT system is problematic in this one area or another. Are you going to give this list to the EC, or you just want an opportunity to look through the registers again?
You see, you have raised an issue that we more or less have complained about earlier on. The EC says it has a practice to give the register at a certain particular point to only political parties when they themselves also qualify independent to contest. And since the qualification was done and it was publicly announced, we haven't yet received the register. So indeed, it will be a very useful thing for all contestants, independent or party, to have an opportunity to look at the register before the election. So if that is the case, yes, why not?
Thank you
we
for...
would have expected...
Okay. You can land.
Yes, we would have expected that once someone picks the form and goes through the process and submits, what does the Electoral Commission have to hide about register? You can give them the forms, the register. You give it to political parties, and they have time to look at it. And we're picking a lot of the information from the public platform. It is important that in good time, all contestants have access to the register, because everybody is campaigning. Because we hear about situations where during the limited registration, the NPP candidate, his team, as soon as somebody does registration, almost immediately you get a text message on your phone. How did they get the telephone number of people who have just registered? So we hear things like that. So when you have that kind of development and contestants or stakeholders ask for the register, let's sit around the table. It becomes very useful. And I think EC should listen to good wisdom of these matters.
Okay. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. That's Nana Ohene-Ntow. He's Director of Elections Planning and Coordination with the Movement for Change. This is Eyewitness News on 90.